This week's AEW Dynamite was main evented by a match between Sammy Guevara and MJF. Also on the show, the Young Bucks faced Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero Miedo in a non-title match, and Nero put his TNT title on the line against Britt Pillman Jr. We also have Vicky Guerrero in action, so yeah, definitely an interesting show. Let's get straight into it. We started things off with the Young Bucks versus Penta and Kingston. This match starts off at a furious pace as Kingston almost picked up the win off a roll-up. Penta tagged in, but Matt and Nick Jackson took control. Penta hit a backbreaker out at ringside before following up with a dive off the Turkish rope. Eddie Kingston tagged back in and double teamed Kingston briefly, but he reversed for a more bang for your buck before hitting Nick Jackson with a series of headbutts. Penta tagged in, he hit Nick Jackson with a sling blade and used a cobra for a near fall and hit a backstabber. The finish of the match saw Matt Jackson hit Penta with a low blow, and the Bucks then hit Kingston with a series of kicks. Nick Jackson then got dumped out to the outside, where Cutler accidentally sprayed Matt Jackson in the face. After this, the Elite Hunter Frankie Kazarian came out and took out Cutler. Penta then hit Matt Jackson with a package barrel driver, and a great win to start off the show. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. This was a really enjoyable segment, and it just makes it really interesting heading into next week at Road Rager. Before Ego Ethan Page was then in the ring with Tony Schiavone. He said his goal wasn't just to beat Darby Allin but to destroy him. Page said that no matter what he's done to Darby over the years in AEW and the Indies, Allin kept coming back. Page said that if he managed to beat Darby in their coffin match, it would cripple his confidence. The lights then went out and Sting's music hit. Sting came out dragging a coffin behind him. Allin jumped out of the coffin and attacked Page. Scorpio Sky tried to come and save his partner. Sting intervened and hit the Scorpio Sky with the Scorpion Death Drop. Referees had to separate Page and Allin. And Page was not happy as he rolled out the ring. He grabbed the mic and said next week's match was off and said that he wouldn't have it until Fyter Fest. Yeah, this was good. Just healing up Ethan Page and being facing Darby. Good stuff. Before we got Jungle Boy versus Jack Evans. Jungle Boy, of course, back in action for the first time since his match last week with Kenny Omega. He went for the snare trap early on, but Jack Evans managed to reach the ropes. Evans then dodged a super dropkick before hitting one of his own. Jungle Boy replied with an arm drag takedown, but Evans sent him face first into the turnbuckle. Evans followed out with a snap suplex. Jungle Boy fought back with a massive clothesline, taking Evans down. With Jungle Boy then on the top right, Jack Evans went for a reverse rana, but Jungle Boy landed on his feet and caught Evans with a drop kick. He then quickly locked in the snare trap, forcing Evans to tap out. And Jungle Boy is the first competitor with 50 wins. I was quite surprised with that, to be honest. But the HFO came down to the ring and tried to ambush Jungle Boy after the match, but they were cut off by Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt and Christian Cage. The segment ended with Christian Cage choking Matt Hardy with his own jacket. Yeah, this was kind of just usual stuff until the last match, but kind of just usual interference you would come to expect. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Backstage interview with Alex Abrahamdes, Andrade El Idolo announced that he will face Matt Sydal at AEW Road Ranger, and he also announced he will beat Matt Sydal, which I'm not going to doubt. But anyway, Kenny Omega then came down to the ring for an interview with Schiavone. Omega said that he woke up feeling like a win because he had beaten some of the biggest names in AEW, most recently of course Jungle Boy. He added that with no one left, he would take some time off AEW before the Dark Order's music hit, and Ifo Uno came down to the ring. Uno said he felt differently. Uno said that while none of them had enough wins to go over the title, he did know someone who did, Hangman Page, but Omega said he didn't have the guts to, and I guess it's kind of a long time storyline until All Out. Yeah, getting the groundwork started now, no problem with it. Before we got Nero versus Brian Pillman Jr. for the TNT title. Nero went for a jumping kick right off the bat to start the match, but Pillman sidestepped and got a few hits on his own. Nero soon took control and unloaded on Pillman with kicks across the chest, and the match then spilled out to the ringside early as Nero hit Pillman with a belly-to-belly suplex. Back in the ring, Nero hit Pillman with a series of uppercuts. The TNT champion kept pounding Pillman with shots across the chest. Brian Pillman Jr. then hit back with a right hand of his own and followed it up with a springboard dropkick. He then hit a dropkick through the ropes. Both men got caught in the ring, and Pillman caught Miro with a couple of suplexes before Miro responded with a massive roundhouse and a game over to pick up the win. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Kind of just an easy title defense for Miro, but yeah, just puts him over as a monster even more. Dark Order was backstage with Hangman Page. Page couldn't understand why the Dark Order issued a challenge to Kenny Omega for the world title on his behalf. His friends replied that now was the time and that he knew he was scared of failing, which is why they challenged Omega himself. Before he got Dr. Britt Baker and Reba versus Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. Dr. Britt Baker took a cheap shot at Vicky early on, forcing her to tag out. Reba and Nyla Rose were legal and Nyla was all over her. Reba went to tag out, but Britt Baker wasn't in the apron. Rose hit Reba with a couple of body slams before Vicky Guerrero tagged in. Vicky Guerrero awesomely rolled out Reba and tagged Nyla Rose back in. Rose then picked up Reba on the shoulder for a modified submission hold and was in control. Britt Baker eventually got the tag in and hit Nyla Rose with a sling blade for a super kick. Nyla Rose hit back with a choke slam and then dragged her over the rope. Vicky tagged in. As Vicky tried to set Britt Baker up, she was pushed into Nyla Rose, who crashed out the ring. Baker then locked in the lockjaw on Vicky Guerrero, forcing her to tap out. Nyla attacked Britt after the match and powerbombed her through a table. If we're being brutally honest, this just wasn't very good. 5 out of 10. Our main event, it was MJF versus Sammy Guevara. MJF cut a promo on the AEW fans at Daily's Place before the match began, saying that unlike the boys in the back, he didn't miss any of them. MJF left the ring as soon as the bell rang, before getting back in. The match started with both men avoiding each other's offense before Guevara went to the GTH early, but MJF caught his leg, blocking it at the last minute. MJF characteristically got Guevara with a thumb to the eye. Sammy hit back and headed to the top rope. MJF rolled out of the ring. Back in the ring, Guevara hit a double springboard counter for a 2 count before sending MJF throat first into the top rope. MJF was quickly back in control after he sent Sammy crashing into the barricade, and he slowed down the match. The match briefly headed outside before he got distracted by the crowd, allowing Guevara to get in control. He rolled MJF back into the ring and went for a springboard dive, but MJF caught him and headed back out to ringside again, where he grabbed a chair, but Guevara hit him with a dropkick into the chair. Sammy headed to the top rope and took MJF out with a dive. Back in the ring, Sammy headed to the top rope, but MJF took his feet out of him and joined him on the turnbuckle. Once they were off it, MJF seemed to be favouring his knee and still couldn't get back on his feet and decided to chop Sammy Guevara across the back of the knee. Guevara finally connected with a GTH, but the pin attempt was too close. Sean Spears came out on the back of MJF, hitting a 630 to try and save MJF before Jericho made his way down. Wardlow attacked Jericho and Sean Spears hit Sammy with a nasty chair shot, and MJF managed to crawl over and get the pin. I'm going to give this 7 out of 10. I enjoyed the match, leading to MJF v Jericho, but yeah, this was a very, very good match and still put Guevara over in defeat. Overall this week, AEW Dynamite gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I kind of enjoyed this show this week. There was a few good bits, especially at the beginning of the end, kind of a bit like NXT this week. And yeah, the middle was kind of okay. There was a few bits. Vicky Guerrero wasn't great, but still, it was a good episode of WWE Dynamite, as Jim Ross would say. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channel on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.